Hi, welcome back to the Ladybug Project. My name is Alyssa Vinehodge, the author of The Sense About Madness, and with me is Kara Adams, author of the Little Yogi series. And we've been on a bit of hiatus from the Ladybug Project, just honestly because a lot of life issues have been happening for each of us, and we just needed a break. So I also wanted to say that on our channel, we're going to add a trigger warning because we do talk about sexual abuse and things in our lives that can be difficult at times, even though our overall message is hopefully to spread hope for the future to people. That's what we want to do. But sometimes even just lightly touching on things can be triggering for people. So just know yourself. And if you do want to join us in this channel, we're glad to have you. But if it's too much for you, pursue your passive healing for sure. So Kara has been kind of dealing with some painful things over the last month or two, but also good things happen too. And she has published a new book in her Little Yogi series. It's called Walk the Plank. And that is very exciting. So it can be ordered at barnesandnoble.com.
That's right. Thank you, Alyssa.
They are such a cute series, and they're really helpful for children too. So
this is actually the first book that rhymes the whole way through, and it's fun in that aspect. But of course, like for the Little Yogi series, we always have a pose, a yoga pose by a child at the end of the book. And of course, it's plank pose. So. And it helps children overcome fear, and it addresses bullying and fear.
So Kara is going to talk a little bit about some of her struggles today. And I did just want to let you guys know that sometimes we branch out from the topic specifically of sexual abuse because it affects your whole life, and we are still healing. We're not like, and the healing process takes a lifetime. It's not like there's healing is a destination where all of a sudden we look normal or perfect or whatever. It's a process. And so yeah, Kara, do you want to go into what you've been going through?
Yeah. Well, I actually have been talking with a couple of people over the past couple of days with how I have a very deep-rooted pain. And someone said, Kara, just take down your walls. And for me, I might come across as this very spunky, high energy, loving, accepting person that is willing to share, but most of the time I do not allow people to come into my life as much as I have, like Alyssa, perhaps, because she's been my friend since we've been friends since 13. So, I mean, that's almost 30 years here. And, but someone asked me, they said, would you please just take down your walls? And I'm like, you know what? It's kind of hard to take down walls that have been up since you were about 3 years old, that you learned to put up right then and there because of a trauma that caused you to go, you know what? That's not going to happen again. So, and at 3 years old, understanding that, and you're like, you just instantly block things out of your life. And especially like intimacy. I know in case of other people, not just like sexual intimacy is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about intimacy on a level of when you connect with people and you allow them to know things about you that you don't want to share with anyone, and that you prefer to keep to yourself. Things that the deepest parts of you, like me and Alyssa were laughing earlier about something, but you know what? Somebody else would not think it was funny because we were just, we've been through so much. We tend to use humor as a coping mechanism, which helps our bodies to not trap so much of the trauma, or keep it in. It makes us kind of go, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, you know, like people are like, what are you talking about? You know, but I think it helps keep me, sane to have a friend like Alyssa. So it's a very, it's a powerful coping mechanism to have someone that I can talk to. And I will say this, that when someone's saying, hey, take down your walls, let me in, that is a challenge for me. It is a challenge. And for other people, it might not be a challenge because everybody deals with trauma differently. I know somebody else in my family, instead of putting up walls and not allowing relationships to occur, they actually cling on to relationships. They go, like, they've been in one relationship and then they stop and they were in another, and they stop, and then when that didn't work out, they jumped right into another. And that is the way they coped with it. And they feel like they cannot be alone. And for me, I feel like I have to be alone. I'm independent. And it's not even about the independence. It's about the fact that I don't want to hurt again. And that's my way to deal with it. And in that, through the years, like, I know me and Alyssa wanted to talk about this. There's something called parent alienation. And it's when a lot of times happens in divorce, when couples use the children to hurt the other parent, and they'll keep the children from them. They'll manipulate the children and say ugly things, or not even say ugly things, but bribe them with toys or money or things to do that the children love. And it distracts them from what the real issue is, and keeping that relationship open for both parents to have that healthy, growing relationship you need as a family. And so one parent decides to try to hurt the other parent, so they keep the children whatever way they can away. And so that's been something that I've had to walk through over the past 8 years. And I'm not very open about that. I don't talk about it because it's something that devastates me and can trigger me into a state of depression. And the only person I really talk to about it is probably Alyssa, and then my counselors, and which is a good way to deal. And then for me, that sadness of understanding, okay, how can I change this? Because I'm a solution person. I love to solve a problem and figure out, okay, what can I do differently to make it better? Or look at all the incredible opportunities we have. I'm not one to usually focus on, whoa, this is it. You know, I'm usually, okay, let's think about this, this, and this. I'm really good with other people, helping them do that. But when it comes to myself, I internalize a lot, and I can get into that depression, especially not being able to see my children, and it because my children are pretty much like everything to me, and I adore them, and I miss them a lot. And so I get to see them, but I don't get to see them as much as I want to. So in that pain, I created and started writing books, and which helps me feel like I can do something even about my own situation. Maybe it's not feeling like I'm doing anything right here and now, but when I create, when I start drawing, when I start writing, and I start allowing myself to make sense of it all and be able to find a solution, my books are the way that I can help other people, or even children that are being traumatized, understand when they're reading the book, they can go to a different place. They can understand it doesn't have to be a certain way in life, that there are more opportunities, there are more options for them to explore, for them to create, for them to have an imagination where they don't have to be stuck and live a certain path. And that gives me myself hope in that process of it all, and getting that out there, and giving coping mechanism like a yoga pose at the end of every book is teaching children how to breathe, teaching children how to become stronger, like holding the plank pose and things like that. Does that make sense, Alyssa? I mean, please step in, because I think I'm done talking. I don't want to say anything else. So I feel like I'm in the face here because I'm at the store and like there's people all around, and I'm trying not to be like too, you know.
No, it does make sense, and thank you for sharing. I know that's going to help somebody who relates for sure. And it takes a lot of bravery to talk about that, because repercussions come with being honest and open about things that are difficult like that. And you know, I know Kara, I know she doesn't talk about this a lot to a lot of people, and if people really knew what she has to face every day, you know, I just admire her for her pursuit of healing, and just the fact that she can even get up and go to work some days after all she's been through, and write a children's book, you know. And there's so many other things I could go on and on that she does, but just to even stand and get out of bed. So I'm going to share an article on my website from Huffington Post. Sorry, I try to suck that back in, but about non-pharmaceutical ways to heal yourself from post-traumatic stress disorder. Of course, some people like me need medicine as well, but to be conscious of doing a lot of these things, and it's distancing yourself from toxic people and taking time to do caring things for yourself every day. And one of the paragraphs really does talk about the need to create that, and that you actually need to slow down to heal yourself. It's a need. So when other people put expectations on us of like, we have to do this, we have to be this, we have to, you know, like you have to do all these things in life, like, no, it's okay. Like we've got, you know, scientists telling us like, you have to take care of yourself or you'll die. Yeah. So like, that's our goal, is to find out ways to heal. And sometimes we choose unhealthy things that like numb the pain in the short term, because we're so overwhelmed. But like, if we can go back to the tools that we have and focus on them and remember them, then we're going to get there step by step. And this Kara like is artistic in the way of drawing and painting and making books. You know, I'm not really creative in that way, but I like to create in other ways, like just a little space of serenity in my home, or a little ritual, or just things in that way. That when I bought my first guest bedroom set the other day, I'm 41 and I just bought a guest bed from Amazon. I was so excited because I'm like, you know, I want a guest to be able to come into my home and like have a happy, comfortable spot to live. You know, my husband and I talked about it, like, how many guests do we have? Like maybe twice a year people come to see us. And I'm like, I don't care, this bed is not that expensive and I just want to set up a space for somebody. So like, whatever you create in your life, you know, like it's important. And I think I went off on a tangent because the crying got me distracted. But the point of this is that we were gone because we needed to focus on ourselves. But then we realized in doing that, we kind of lost ourselves in some ways. And so we're coming back with the project. I don't know if we'll do it every week or every other week, but we'll definitely keep up with it, just so that we can heal together. So, the end.
Yeah. Thank you, Alyssa. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your friendship. Thank you for making this possible and motivating me and being such a, like, just helping me. You're a pillar. Like, we need friends. We need people in our lives, and to surround ourselves with people that are going to lift us up and hold our hands, and not be afraid to look at whatever might be coming our way and to help us be strong. So, when you were talking, I wanted to say that I mentioned earlier, like, my father passed away in 2009, and he was like one of my best friends ever. And I believe he got sick because he took on so much of other people's pain, and he tried to carry someone else's pain. And when we do that, especially as moms, because it's so easy to do, I was talking to my sister about it, like, we just don't want to see our children suffering. We don't want to see them struggle. And here's the thing, like, so many times we need to allow them to experience certain things so they can experience life and understand the fullness of joy. Not just the fullness of suffering, but the fullness of joy is right there, right beside the suffering. Because we can choose our perspective. We can choose, like, people are like, oh, I can't change this or that. But honestly, we can. We can, like we talked about this before, like, not wanting to get out of bed in the morning sometimes. It's like, we have to explore, like, didn't mention this earlier, like, exploring options of creativity. You explore options of your thinking. Like, how, like, if to find that happiness, to find that joy, what makes you the most excited in life. For me, the other day, I was just painting, and I just painted, and I loved it. I felt like, and then I went to the beach, and the beach makes me happy. Like, just sitting on the beach, reading a book. It doesn't have to always be creating something. Like, you can just, if you love routine, I love working at Starbucks. Why? Because it's a routine, and it's something that gives me something to do. And I love being able to see people every day and go, hey, welcome to Starbucks. So it's like, you have to, like, if you don't know what makes you happy, there is a world of exploration. Be Christopher Columbus. Go out there and discover what makes you happy. And I mean, if certain things, like, it could be bowling, it could be, I don't know why I said that, but it could be anything. It could be like Alyssa said, just even just getting furniture for your house. For me, I didn't have the money, so what did I do? I created furniture. I made I took pallets and made furniture out of pallets for my house. And that's what we do. Is for me to grow and expand and to become a higher evolved self of myself, I explore and I create. And I think that is so much, you're dead on, of healing and evolving. And when we evolve, we can heal. Mm-hmm. And that sometimes takes even, like, finding groups that you can go to and be in a group and talk about what you've been through, and finding more and more options of different avenues of healing. So I don't know if my ADHD kicked in or my OCD kicked in. So if I didn't make sense.
No. Yeah, I think it was good. When you identify your passions and the little things you love to do, even the tiniest thing you like to do.
Yeah.
You are creating. You're creating yourself, and you're creating your own healing.
Yeah. I want to say, when I work at Starbucks, like, I love, like, organizing. My OCD kicks in. I'm like, oh, this has to look perfect. This has to be here. This has to be organized. That's creating, and that's comforting to me, and that makes me happy. I mean, something so simple like just cleaning your house can be like healing, or cleaning at work, whatever.
All right. We'll be back. Thanks for tuning in.